Today's review is on Book 1 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen series, Gardens of the Moon by Erikson. I decided to give this novel a try because I've read one epic fantasy tale so far, Stephen King's Dark Tower, and I wanted one that was even longer and more in-depth. So a lot of people say this is the deepest one ever, so hey, I started here. This book is a high-end fantasy kind of thing with gods, mages, melee fighters, thieves, philosophers, in a very typical kind of fantasy world. One of the things that I found that was a little bit different than other fantasy series was that the gods in this one are invested in human activity upon the particular earth that is the setting in this novel. And I thought that was kind of neat. There are a few different gods that have their stakes in what's going on, so I thought that was unique and interesting. The writing style here is nothing unusual. You know, there's nothing that I can really pick out that's different. I will say that I just started A Man Called Ove, and it is much different in writing style. This novel here, no compassion for anything, a lot of killing, a lot of death. One thing that I was off-put a little bit in this novel was a lot is going on, and there were a couple of things that I just didn't absorb. I was kind of not entirely sure how we got from point A to point B. It may have been my fault as the reader. Maybe my mind was wandering a little bit. But there's a lot that's going on in this book. I will tell you that when you jump into this novel, you aren't given a lot. You're given nothing about what is happening. There's no prelude that gives you an idea. You're thrown right into the middle of a war. There are so many different sides fighting for different objectives, so many ulterior motives. You know, this isn't the farm boy grows up to take on the dark wizard and save humanity. That is not the tale here in this book. In this book, there are just so many different factions fighting for different reasons. You don't really know if this person's good or if they're bad, or we just can't figure out the motives for a lot of the characters in this, and I really thought that was cool. You know, I would have probably bailed on this. I tried the Wheel of Time. I didn't, you know, that was the typical, I could tell immediately that was the typical farm boy, comes up, is unsure of himself, he saves the world. I did not want that because that is not what Dark Tower was about, and I do not believe that that is what this 10-book series, actually 16-book series is about. It just doesn't start out like that. That being said, I am going to give this book 3 stars out of 5. I'm not sure yet if I will read all of these. I'm still in at this point. I do not know if I'll read all 10. I will try book 2 and see how it goes. This book definitely sets up for an epic tale. There are so many different ways Erikson can go with this. I will read book 2 and see what he's got going on. My only complaint is that I failed to absorb a few things I was reading. I said, how did we get it? What exactly? How did this character lose their abilities, or what's going on? That was primarily my fault. I give it 3 out of 5. It's a clean read. It's a lot to take on. If you're looking for something easy and simple, don't go here. If you want to try an epic fantasy, I say read it.